Hey, what's happening, everybody? Or should I say hello, or what's happening to all my folks in the YouTube world? It's Righteous Ron, the DJ, the classic DJ from the Bay. You know what I mean? Better known as DjRon, the classic DJ from the Bay. Coming at you again, another video. It's Righteous Ron. Not because I am righteous, but because I'm striving for it. You understand what I'm saying? I'm striving for it. So here I come again, another installment of the Dilemma of a Good One. And this is going to be part 2, y'all. But today we're going to call this one, though. We're going to call this one, since I started with the C, we're going to keep that going. We're going to talk about the chemistry or the compromise. The chemistry versus the compromise. How about that? That sounds even better. The chemistry versus the compromise of celibacy. You get what I'm saying? And the ultimate goal that we want to find out, men, the ultimate goal that we want to find out, young women, well, for men, you know, I want to say, you know, is this somebody with love for sale, you know what I mean? Or is this more like a sex for profit?
From the day we met up until right now, if I wanted that girl, I always knew how to find her and get her and take her home. Getting everything I wanted when we're all alone. Every time I see her, it's time to toss. I'm walking in the door, taking everything off, cause I know I'll get it. Now and later, call me short old boy, and I'm a stone cold player.
You know what I mean? And what I'm saying is not for no players and like that. You know, you got some young people that particularly, and you got some folk who grow up and they still want to play the field, want to be outside, want to go here and there, you know what I mean, and live their life they want it their way. Shout out to all y'all. God bless you if that's what you want to do. I do want to forewarn younger people, if that's the route that you want to go, check the statistics of the activities that you're doing. You know what I mean? I just remember hearing about 10 years ago that the young women from the ages of 16 to 24 made up like 40% of the age rate in the Oakland, California Bay Area. You know what I mean? Not including San Francisco. You get what I'm saying? So if that's what you want to do, you got to be extra careful. Definitely strap it up, wrap it up, all that good stuff and everything else. And then even for you OGs or whatnot, you know, you got the young girls messing with the old men. You got the old women that's messing with the young boys, all that kind of stuff. So you're taking your chance and your risk too. But this particular video is for people who are striving to be good and better. You understand what I'm saying? Remember that. The dilemma of a good one. You know what I mean? And it's a dilemma because it's a lot easier to be the other way. You know what I mean? It's a lot easier, as I talked about in part 1, to have relations than it is to have relationships. And we're talking about good, godly relationships that the God will smile on the union that y'all have and bless it. So one way that I know how, look, at my big age of almost 52 years old, one way that I know how is to do it his way. You get what I'm saying? Most of us, we started out when we lost our virginity a long time ago. For me, a long time ago, the ripe age of 11. You get what I'm saying? And I've been there and I've done that. You get what I'm saying? So it's now that I understand that doing a whole lot of things that I used to do God's way, or what I didn't want to do God's way, I started doing it God's way, and guess what? I like the results a whole lot better. So because I'm single, so now that I'm single, and because I'm single, I could only delve on the fact that, you know what? I haven't done things God's way. So I'm challenging myself to do things God's way. Thus the challenge of celibacy. But the thing about it is that when you're celibate, it gives you a lot more clearer thinking. It opens up your mind, so to speak. You know what I mean? It lightens your load in your heart. You know what I mean? You don't have a heavy heart no more dealing with another wrong end. You know what I mean? Another bad girl that wasn't good for me. You know what I'm saying? It clears your mind from the cloudy thinking and everything else. You know what I'm saying? Truth be told, you know, a lot of times people end up going down the aisle because why? Well, because he whipped it on her. She put it on him. Get what I'm saying? And the next thing you know, they saying I do to something that they wish they didn't. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm just keeping it real, right? We could do that here, right? So we're going to go back and we're going to dwell back to our video. You know what I mean? I'm not sure if all he's going to say, you know, but we're going to check out a couple more excerpts. This is rapper Lecrae. I didn't even find out till I watched the first person of that. I heard the name. I'm like, it must be the rapper. And this is a Pastor Stephen somebody. He's going to say his name, I'm sure, in the video. I listened to it just to grab the clip or just to clip it but I haven't listened to it. So we're gonna do so together. Here we go. Let's see what they're talking about, and we'll go from there. Pause, play, all that good stuff. Also, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and everything else. And be looking for the channel, this to be on the channel Righteous Ron, or in the very near future, you'll be seeing more videos like this, more content like this on the Righteous Ron channel on YouTube, Christian based, doctrine based, and all that kind of stuff. So here we go. The mute button on. We gotta get the mute button on.
What's the point of dating in the first place? Let's just lay a foundation. Like, from your perspective, what is the point of dating in the first place? Why are we doing this? Why? I think, as you're gonna find in the Bible, there's balance. So there's two sides to everything. Okay. I do think, I know you want to start let me start heavy. Go ahead. Listen, I do think the point of dating is to find out who you want to spend the rest of your life with. If you're out here in these streets and you're just dating because you're bored, you are playing with people's hearts, and that's manipulative. That's not godly. That said, I don't think dating needs to start super heavy and super hot and, what's the call of God in your life, and do you speak in tongues, and what's your credit score? And I think sometimes as Christians trying to do it the right way, we get too hot, too heavy, too soon. And
I personally think those are some good questions to ask, particularly by the second date. I need to know early enough, and that's gonna scare her off to let her go and go. You got a lot of women who say that they want somebody God-fearing. You even have some men that would say they, somebody God-fearing, but as soon as she step out in that little skizzer, you know what I mean? Yeah, I watched Pop the Balloon and Find Love, and if y'all saw any of them episodes, y'all know that as soon as she step out, he forgot about the part where, where's the fear in God at now? You know what I'm saying? He thinking about something else now. You get what I'm saying? And that's just the way that it is. That's the way it is. Like I said before, if she's using her hips and her lips and her fingertips to get you hooked, then she's probably not the right one. You know what I mean? Ladies, if you have to use that for him, it's probably not the right one. I'm just saying.
I think those first few dates, I really say in the book, first 6 weeks to 8 months, we just need to laugh. We need to have fun. We need to enjoy each other. Because I'm going to get in trouble. Just because you love Jesus don't mean I want to spend the rest of my life with you. I know you got to be a Christian and all that, but that's not enough. Is there chemistry? Do you think I'm funny? Do I think you're funny? Do you get on my nerves? Yeah. You chew with your mouth open, because that's a deal breaker.
For some people,
I think there's just some initial stuff that are not heavy that you can figure out early on before you jump into the deep stuff.
Yes,
I like.
Yes, sir.
Let's just lay the foundation.
Facts, right? Hold on. That's all facts, right? You really want to know who this person is before you get too involved with me. Like I said, I'm a demisexual. I've confessed it before. Demisexual, not no other kind of sexual. Demisexual means that I have to have a connection with somebody. So if we're not connected early, I need to know that early on before I even think about going any further, any deeper or whatnot. And it's not something that comes by the way. It is not something that develops, you know what I mean? It's something that I need to know from the beginning. I need to be locked in, and we're going to ride together from there. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the car, you in the car. We're going to ride to our destination together. We'll talk as we go. You know what I mean? We'll listen to whatever music we listen to. Do we like the same music, stuff like that. It's all important to me. You got to know what I'm saying? I got my shortcomings and everything, and I like to be transparent about it. I still listen to hardcore rap and gangster rap. You know what I'm saying? So are you cool with that every so often? You know what I mean? If you got to listen to Mary J. Blige, sad songs or whatnot, I might deal with that every once in a while. But these are important things to know. Let's go ahead and skip to the next part and see what we're talking about.
Out with this person, so I agree with you totally. So we date to get to know each other. How long is too long? You gonna put me on the spot? Well, let me even start there. Okay. I think, and if we talk about online dating and all that kind of stuff, that brings a different equation. If we can get into that. I think you can learn a lot about somebody without going on a first date. And I think a lot of people waste their time learning something those first few dates, that if you had just been around that person, see how they treat other people, you would have realized that ain't the type of person I'm trying to spend my life with.
You know what? I like that, because it's true. If it's somebody that you've been around, possibly at church, at work, taking classes with, you do get to see how they treat other people, how they interact with other people. When you're around, when you're paying attention, they know you're paying attention or not. You know what I mean? What more authentic can you get than that? You get what I'm saying? Now, the fact of me, I don't like messing with people at the same job, the same school, or the same church. That's just me. Same neighborhood. Really, you know what I mean? Apartment complex, next door neighbor, nah, too close to home. Get what I'm saying? And the way I move, the way I grew, if I live there, that's where I want to live. If I work there, that's where I want to work. If I go to school there, that's why I chose to go to school. And if I go to church, that's why I choose to worship. I don't want to have to move from there because we met, we talked for a minute, and then it didn't work out. And you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, you just so strongly dislike the person, and or it's so uncomfortable that you want to move from there. So, you know, that's a little, you know what I mean? But it could be some wisdom in that, though. You might mess around and fall in love with somebody, though. But that's a good place to at least gauge it up. Now, if I'm at their job and I see how they go about doing things, I've done it before when I DJ before. Like I said, I don't talk to people when I'm DJing your function. I'm not hollering at nobody there because Rashonda might be there, Tyrone might be there, her dude. I don't see that they're item. She ain't got no ring on them like that. But I like Rashonda. She's nice with me. I ain't gonna use the word flirting, but she's just friendly and nice. And all of a sudden, Tyrone is jealous and ready to fight the DJ. And then we got to turn your way now because the DJ then threw Tyrone had him touching every wall in there. You know what I'm saying, or whatnot. You know what I mean? Don't want it to go down like that. So, what am I saying? So, in those situations, I won't do it. However, I've had a couple of Rashondas, though, that treated me very, very well. You know what I mean? And I reached back to that host, to whoever gave that party a couple of days later and say, hey, what's up with Rashonda? Is she single or nah? You know what I mean? And a couple of times Rashonda was single, rather. She was not seeing anybody. And, you know, we linked it up. So there's that, you know what I mean? So he's right to a certain extent. I'm learning and I'm growing too, you know what I mean? Maybe I'll look at a coworker a little bit harder. Maybe I'll look at sister so-and-so a little bit more, whatnot, you know what I mean? The husband must not be married and there's no ring on her finger. We'll see. I got catfish like that though before because I remember one sister was going to my church. I'm like, man, she's pretty cool. Let me see what her IG about, what her social media about. Saw her on there, hugged up with one of the dudes that go to the church. They don't never interact with one another. I had no idea how embarrassing that would have been. So anyway, let's go.
That said, here's my timeline. And I always say, this is Stephen Chandler. This is what the Bible says. No.
Uh-oh.
Well,
watch out now.
Calm down. This is Stephen Chandler. This is principle, not doctrine. Okay.
Watch out.
I think about 6 weeks to 8 months of just, do we enjoy each other? Is there a friendship there? Is there a chemistry, even though we don't kind of like that word? And I say, you know, the older you are, the shorter time you need because you know yourself better. The younger you are, the longer you need. And where's the camera looking to? Hey, young folks, you don't know who you are. Trust me on that one. Like, I mean, you think at 22, you know everything you're looking for, and you're going to learn more about yourself between 22 and 30 than you did from 0 to 22. That's true. So that's that season. And then the next season, another 6 to 8 months of, do we have common values? Like, and when I say common values, here's what I mean by that. Yes, you love Jesus, I love Jesus. Yes. But how do you see family? How do you see money? How do you see career? How do you see calling? How do you see the world? And the Bible says, how can two walk together unless they agree? Yeah. What happens in a lot of relationships, particularly dating, is you meet somebody that you don't agree with, and then you spend all of your dating time trying to change them. That's not fair. Like, God does not even control us. He allows us to have free will. So if God doesn't control somebody, why do you think you have the right to control and try to, well, you're wrong? And no, you're not their pastor. It's just your job to figure out who they are and to figure out, do you want to spend the rest of your life?
If you feel like your brain craves pleasure from lust just as much as it craves...
Yeah, I'm on YouTube too, y'all, so, you know, let's get it.
Being a man of integrity, it's probably not life
with them. So that's stage 2. Okay. And then stage 3 is that last 6 weeks to 8 months. And it's usually the engagement season. And that's where we start to delve into stories. Where did you come from? Where did I come from? How did that impact us for the positive? How did that impact us for the negative?
Okay.
And it's not a matter of, man, you came from a broken home, so that means we'll never be able to build a great home or whatever. That's the devil. That ain't true at all. But have you acknowledged the trauma that you've been through?
Yeah.
Have you sought pastoring, counseling? Have you been in the Word of God to allow Him to heal and to restore? A lot of people go into marriage and have no clue actually what they're going to deal with. And then, you got the honeymoon period, and then all the skeletons come out the closet.
Yeah.
And that marriage is a lot more difficult than it needed to be.
Man.
Because that stuff needs to come out in premarital counseling. And it, like I said, it's not a deal breaker.
Yeah.
It's just we know what we're dealing with. So now we need to get the tools to be able to build a healthy marriage. So, 8 months, out with this person. So
8 months. So therefore, there is the compromise and the chemistry, right? The chemistry and the compromise. Because if you have speeded too fast and then read the speed, ran the red lights and didn't even stop to read the street signs, you make it to your destination, but you get the ticket in the mail. You know what I'm saying? You get a ticket in the mail. Hey, you was doing 95 and a 65. You know what I mean? We got it by aircraft or whatnot. Now you didn't go too far to turn around. You can't argue. You nothing else. You're locked in now. So the only thing to do is do what? Go to court and fight, divorce court. So that's why I'm sharing these videos with you, because we don't want to have to go that far. You know what I mean? I would like to have the chemistry as opposed to having to compromise. There's some things that you can't compromise. For instance, she may be horrible with money and I'm good with it. You know what I'm saying? I know how to save. I know how to budget and everything else. That's a yin and a yang. You see what I'm saying? By the same token, she may not have cooked very well and I don't. You see what I'm saying? So that's the stuff that we bring to one another. That's how we serve one another. And notice I said the word serve, because that's what we are here for. We are put on earth to serve the Lord, and we do that by serving one another. What better example is there than having a marriage of a husband and a wife serving each other and serving their children? Eventually their children are going to serve them too. You know what I'm saying? So I prefer the chemistry as opposed to having to compromise, because it's difficult to compromise with somebody who want to go to a different church than you go to. You know what I'm saying? And keep it 1,000 with you, it's difficult to compromise with somebody who has their own parenting style and you have your parenting style. And then on top of that, particularly when we're a little older, she got her own children, he has his own children, and they got different parenting styles, and they want to be the dominion over their children and everything else. One thing I said is, if I'm with a woman and she got a kid, I got to come first. I'm sorry. The two become one. If the Bible says that the husband and the wife, they both leave their parents and become one together, and that's who trumps, what are the kids? They're trumped as well. You know what I mean? It's husband, then wife, and then children, period, point blank. The husband is the head. They look up to the Lord. The wife looks up to the husband. The children look up to the husband and the wife says mostly what the husband say. That's the way I look at it. You know what I mean? And if that leaves me being single for the rest of my life because we can't get on that page, then so be it. But that's the way that it is. There's no compromise for that, because there's no room for that, because we're setting ourselves up to compromise our happiness, to compromise our morals, our values, and everything else. And ultimately, we're compromising our relationship with God by compromising our relationship with one another. I hope I made sense. I hope I said that well.
Tools to be able to build a healthy marriage. So, 8 months. The maximum you should be dating is 2 years.
Okay.
And that's where people get real mad at me, and they probably go, I'm not saying doctrine. Come on now.
Yeah.
So it could be 20 months. It could be 28 months.
Yeah.
But 3 years, 4 years, 5 years.
What are we doing?
Come on. First of all, what we doing?
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, we ain't living holy.
First of all, I've never been in a relationship more than 3 years, which may be part of my problem. So I can't hold them on that one. You know what I mean? But I know I would know within 8 months to a year and a half for sure if there's somebody on me around. And first of all, she made the 8 months to her. You know what I'm saying? Especially if we celibate and everything else and she stuck around, something might be right about her.
Yeah,
It's called spade a spade.
Because I ain't got 2 years.
I barely got 2 years in me. That's called spade a spade. And
Yeah.
I mean, you can fight me on this. I don't think God made us to live celibate for years and years and years with someone we're attracted to.
Right.
Like, dude, you gotta make a decision.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got a lot of mixed emotions listening to you talk.
Tools to be able to build a healthy marriage.
Of course you love that because that means go and get it in, get it on. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm saying. This is the challenge of it, though. That, you know, that's the challenge. You know what I mean? And therefore, you're compromising. You're compromising with your lust. You're compromising with flesh as opposed to spiritual. You get what I'm saying? You're compromising and you're settling for what could be more, a whole lot more. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's a challenge. That, you know what I'm saying? But if there's a good chemistry, though, you could typically make love to somebody without even touching their body, period, point blank. And she can do it for you too. She can do it for the men too. You know what I mean? Mama told me one time that it would feel right here and it also feel right down there. You know what I mean? Shout out to Prince Hakeem, that I want to be aroused other than my loins. You understand what I'm saying? Maybe that's what it is. I sold my royal oats a long time ago, but that probably had a lot to do with it, though. Just keeping it 1,000.
The other thing I feel outside of the frustration, because I'm like, dang it, why didn't anybody teach me this? Because literally, the biblical counseling that I received before I got married was, I said, which woman how do I know who I should date? And the person who walked me down this pathway said, does she love Jesus?
Yep.
And is she willing to follow you?
We must have had the same pastor.
And I was like,
I know this isn't good to say on camera, but man, about 3-4 years into marriage, I started looking for my pastor. Like, where this fool at? Will you set me up, man? Yes, they need to love Jesus. Yeah, wives, submit to your husband. It's bigger than that, though.
Oh my God.
There's more to it than that. And, whether it's a husband or wife that, it's their turn to bring the skeletons out of the car, you can't even blame them because most of us don't even know how what we've been through has affected us.
Right.
We've got I'll give you an example. My mom was diagnosed with cancer when I was 13 years old.
wow.
And then my older sister went through 3 brain surgeries from me being 16 into my 20s. So from 13 on, I pretty much raised myself. I had an awesome father who was a pastor, awesome mother, but we were in survival mode, just trying to keep everybody healthy and all. I have no idea how much that hardened my heart. So now I'm married and my wife's like, bro, you kind of cold. Like, you ain't the most affectionate dude out there. And I couldn't make the connections that what I had experienced in a godly, great home had hardened my heart to a place where it would make it difficult to show a woman the affection that she needed from me. So it's not like, your parents got to be jacked up or like you had to have been through all this horrible trauma, just life.
Yeah.
Lives.
Yeah.
And
she dating you initially, we need it. God bless you. The other thing
Lives. Just think about that. Life is going to life. Here's another thing about celibacy, what it can do. You can either find a chemistry or you'll be compromised. And here's the tidbit that I just want to just share before I go into talking about the time span to wait for a marriage. Life with life. I don't want to be with somebody that's going to be all about their life and not concerned about mine. And I don't want to be all concerned about mine and not have to help them in their life. That makes sense? Talked about serving one another and everything else. That's what it's about. Most people, marriage is hurting nowadays. A lot of people are scared to get married and everything else because we see so much entitlement. Everybody think it's all about them. What do you bring to the table? I am the table and all that kind of stuff and everything. Men and women say that and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Just because you got it going on today don't mean that tomorrow is going to be different. Ain't going to be different. The same God that bless you, whether you recognize it or not, the same God reigns from the just and the unjust. The same God from who blessings flow can also come in and take it away. God give it and he can take it away. And again, whether you realize it or not, it says, scripture said one day every knee is going to bow, every tongue is going to confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. He's Lord of it all. He owns it all. So let's get that part straight, right? So again, when it's all about them and not about us, that's a deal breaker for me. Now, as far as the time span, remember I said if somebody sticks with me for 8 months and we could do the celibacy thing together and we still got a chemistry and I don't feel like I got to compromise much, if not at all, she's probably her. She's probably gonna be that one, right? But what is 8 months though to some people? You know what I mean? I know a couple that got married after 4 months. 4 months. Married 40 years now. You know what I mean? Likewise, I know a couple that was together for over 30 years, got married, divorced within a year. You know what I'm saying? So only God knows what the future may bring, but I'm just saying, you know, that's what you want to do. You want a way to compromise and you want to weigh the chemistry of celibacy over really of a relationship. Celibacy is a great scale to use though, because once again, your mind is not, it's not all about, oh, I can't stand how she can't cook worth for nothing, but she good in bed. You know what I mean? I can't stand, he don't like to cut grass and stuff like that, but he putting it down in the bed. You got to be more than that, because what's done in the bed ain't gonna get it done on the job. And what's done in the bed ain't gonna get it done with dealing with these children's. You know what I'm saying? What's done in the bed ain't gonna help us pay our mortgage. Well, you know, I'm gonna leave that alone. But you understand what I'm saying? So look, this is Righteous Ron. Oh, you know, I'm still DJ Ron. You know what I mean? I'm always, the music is always gonna be a part of me. Matter of fact, I'm gonna have a great song for this right here to come on after this. But the thing about it is this though. Weigh it out for yourself. You know what I mean? Figure out your own guidelines on what you will do, what you won't do. That's why I like Popular Balloon, because it has a deal breakers, and people come out and say deal breakers, and sometimes they break the deal before the deal is even made, because there's somebody else that say, you know what, that's your deal breaker, but I got 3 kids already, so pop. You know what I'm saying? But what are yours though? You know what I mean? What are the things that you consider chemistry? What are the things that you say, you know what, if I had to deal with that, I'd be compromising and therefore settling? And I don't want to, I ain't gonna settle for that. I can't go for that. You know what I mean? Weigh it out for yourself. Put it together, pray over it, and watch how the Lord bless and open your eyes. That right one is gonna come along for each one of us. I believe that. You know what I mean? It's a dilemma of a good one, but hey, it's good to be good. It's better to get better. Take care, and as always, God bless.
That one special lady that could please me. I haven't found her yet, but I bet that she's somewhere around the set. But then again, maybe not. I've observed a lot of sisters lately, and to me it seems they all love the plot. See, it's a game for these females, can't you tell? They give you sex, then they want dibs on your mail. It ain't cool, but these think so. That's why I let that whole relationship thing go. Cause being broke is something I don't wanna be, and I would hate to have a hoochie harking me. That's why I always play my cards right, and don't try to get at every female that I see in sight. But if there's any sister that feels she's real, step to me, and maybe, baby, we could chill. Cause right now, what I'm craving is a true woman that's down for the cause and avoids all the frontin'. But don't approach unless you're true from the giddy up. Cause I ain't down with all that funny style stuff. Don't come at all if you're not gonna come from the heart. Just do your half, cause baby, I'ma do my part.
Bypass a woman that's looking for the dollar, plotting on my pockets every late night hour. Man, it ain't cool, you can't even go to sleep without noticing the freak trying to creep. That's why I'm putting an end to the gold digging freaks. My game is superior and the game is weak. I'm looking for a woman that's kinda relaxed, that got a straight head, but not too laid back. Together we can do this, this love is for two. If you meet me halfway, count on me meeting you. This I promise, you control your own fate, and you'll be the blame for your own damn mistakes. If you're true to yourself, then be true to me, and maybe we can work out a love that's everlasting. All I'm getting is companionship, but why it seem like every time I'm being put to the test, they say love is blind in this life that I live. But I know one thing, something gotta give. Something come from the mind, but I come from the heart, and it's not to be played with. I'm only doing my part.
how real does it get? Does it really go as far as a relationship? I imagine so. One day it might take a toll when we hook up our inner being, soul to soul. Not only that, I'ma make things sincere and true. But you gotta treat me the same way I treat you, cause that's the only way that things will progress, G. And I'm tired of sisters trying to test me. You know, sometimes I wonder why y'all can't be stable. You got to have more than one lover. Don't blame it on the brothers, cause you the one that be creeping trying to be on the under. So ain't no use to your flexing, cause you know damn well you give it up to the next man. What I'ma do with a janky female when I know from experience that she's only out for the meal? I got no time to be worried about what you're doing, so you can keep on screwing whoever the hell you're screwing. But if in any way you can, give me all your heart, do what you gotta do, cause I'ma do my part.
Relationships ain't what they used to be. It seemed like everybody is plotting for the money. I once had a female that was materialistic. The first mistake I had made was getting them digits. I had a fact why I was in the game. My name was ringing and she was jocking for the fame. But I didn't trip, cause I didn't slip. Somebody snitched on her, she would set me up to get licked. I can't get caught up, I give a woman a third degree. That's why I beat game. Before things get too deep, you gotta recognize game from the very start. All it takes is one time to get played with your heart. I can't take it no more, being left confused. That's why I made up my mind and I won't be used. We have to do this together, there's only one way to make a relationship complete today. That's why I take things slow, break down and take it on. Why should I stress on something that she should already know? All I ask from a woman is to be true from the start. Maybe things will work out, because I'm doing my part.
I represent the Yay area.